Hi, welcome back to our series of reading the Bible daily in a year with
Mari.
y Les. Y aquí le continuamos in 2nd Chronicles chapter 16 all the way to 20, stopping at verse 13. Okay, y'all. So yesterday, Mari was talking to us about King Asa and how he followed the Lord and he was doing good and that God allowed no war until year 35. Well, we're now in year 36 and things are about to get messy for King Asa. El rey de Israel, Baasha, starts building like a city to block Judah. Basically, está tratando de hacer una jugada to block Asa's kingdom from entering, right? He's like, hey, we're going to cut off this supply line. And King Asa sees this and he's like, okay, I need to make a move. But Mari. Instead of King Asa trusting the Lord like he had, yeah, no, not this time. This time he takes silver and gold from the temple and he sends it to King of Aram, a Ben Hadad, y le manda un mensajito. Le dice, hey, bro, let's break your alliance, the one that you got with Israel. Like, how about you attack them and I'll pay you? And Ben Hadad, I mean, what does this man say? He's like, yeah, all right. So el king de Aram attacks Israel and Israel backs off from King Asa. And Asa's like, that was easy peasy. But then llega un profeta y se llama Hanani. This man was not impressed. He goes to King Asa and he's like, Mijo, do you remember how things used to be when you trusted the Lord? Now, why did you have to go and take political matters and started to make deals instead of seeking the Lord? But y'all, Asa, ¿qué hace uno cuando le dicen las verdades? A veces you don't want to hear it. So he gets mad. And what does he do? He throws el prophet Hanani into prison. Y'all, y la Biblia nos dice that after this, things get bad for Asa. Things start going downhill. That he gets this disease in his feet. But instead of him seeking the Lord, like it says, he doesn't seek the Lord anymore. And then he just relies on physicians, o sea, en doctores. Y que así termina la cosa. Después of him being king for 41 years, he dies. Y ahí se acaba la historia de King Asa. And now we move on to 2nd Chronicles chapter 17. Bueno, y aquí empezamos hablando del hijo de Asa, de Jehoshaphat. La Biblia luego nos dice que él empezó con Dios. That he starts to strengthen Judah, puts soldiers in fortified places, and basically upgrades the whole security system in the kingdom. And that he starts removing idols. And that Jehoshaphat sends leaders, priests, and Levites into the town to teach people God's law. And y'all, people start learning. It tells us that la gente ahora is becoming more faithful, more stable, and honestly more peaceful. And that because of this, God gives Jehoshaphat favor. And that the cities around him, like the nations around him, are like, yeah, we don't want to mess with Jehoshaphat right now because his kingdom is blessed. Y que así Jehoshaphat keeps getting richer and stronger, and he keeps building his army, fortifying his cities. Y aquí we move on to 2nd Chronicles chapter 18. Bueno, y aquí luego empezamos hablando que Jehoshaphat gets into business with another king, el king Ahab de Israel. El king Ahab le va y le dice a Jehoshaphat, hey bro, you want to team up and you want to go to war together? Y Jehoshaphat was like, all right, cool, let's do it. But you know what? Let's ask God first. So Ahab was like, okay, yo tengo a 400 profetas. He brings them out, right? And that these prophets are basically like, yeah, go to war and you'll win. Pero Jehoshaphat was like, yeah, no, this sounds a little fishy. ¿No hay otro profeta por ahí aquí que en realidad escuche de Dios? And Ahab is like, no, pues sí, hay uno que se llama Micaiah. Pero ¿sabes qué? Este señor, he never prophesies anything good about me. And Jehoshaphat is like, no pasa nada, you bring him, let's ask him. So ya viene el Micaiah y le preguntan, ¿verdad? Should we go to war? So then Micaiah answers all sarcastically y les dice, sí, ustedes vayan y peleen, ustedes van a ganar. Y el King Ahab is like, bro, stop, be for real though. And Micaiah is like, fine. I actually saw Israel scattered like sheep without a shepherd. Basically, if you go to war, this is going to end badly for you. But Ahab, he gets all mad. And what does he do? Ignores him and goes to war. So entonces Ahab, he goes right and he tries to avoid danger. Pero no, hombre, Micaiah ya le había dicho que le iba a salir las cosas malas. So then an arrow strikes him and hits him good. Okay, I shouldn't have said that because he actually ends up dying, just like the prophecy has said. So aquí nos vamos to 2nd Chronicles chapter 19. Después de regresar de esa guerra, el king Jehoshaphat gets a reality check. A prophet named Jehu basically goes to him y le dice, Mijo, why are you helping the wicked and loving people who hate God? I just know Jehoshaphat was like, no, pues, when you put it like that. So I guess at this point, he starts realizing that he messed up when he teamed up with Ahab. But he's a good king. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't crash out. Él entiende sus verdades. Then he goes and improves Judah. He sets up judges in every city. He les dice, be careful what you decide because you're not deciding for yourself. You're not speaking for yourself. You're speaking for God. Él ya no quiere corrupción, quiere favoritism. He wants no nonsense. So then he sets up judges in Jerusalem for the harder cases. And he gives them this message. Fear the Lord. Be honest. Don't let money pressure you or change your decisions. He even warns them that God is watching everything. And he ends by saying this, act with courage, and may the Lord be with those who do well. Bueno, aquí we move on to 2nd Chronicles chapter 20. Y para Jehoshaphat, now he's getting some bad news. He hears that this big group of Moabites who were enemies, that they're coming through with some Ammonites and a whole bunch of other haters. They're coming his way. Basically, they're about to have a big problem. So Jehoshaphat gets nervous, but he goes and seeks the Lord. Good job, Jehoshaphat. So he calls for a fast throughout Judah. I'm talking about no food, no snacks, just straight up prayer. And people all over Judah gather around the temple, and Jehoshaphat speaks to the people. And he starts to pray out loud. Lord, you are good in heaven. You rule over all kingdoms and nations. You are powerful and strong. No one can stand against you. You remember how you helped us before? You gave this land to our ancestors, and we built a temple for you. Now look, we're in trouble again, and we need your help, Lord. And then he finishes with this. We don't know what to do, but one thing we do know is that we have our eyes on you. Y aquí terminamos, amigas. Mari, ¿qué vamos a repasar mañana?
Yes, so tomorrow nos toca Segunda de Crónicas, starting at chapter 20, verse 14, all the way to chapter 24, stopping at verse 14.
Okay, y'all, so come back tomorrow for more Biblia and Vibes, y no se les olvide traer su cafecito
O su tecito.
Bye.
Bye.